I was very overweight and I was very shy. This is something that people don't know about me. Nekele shy. And then this is what I did.
We are the brave, we are the bold, we can be anything, anything.
Hey guys, hey friends, we are back. We're back by popular demand, and as you know, we are the perfect spot for all things local. Here we celebrate, appreciate, embrace our locals, right? So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you find the subscription button and subscribe. I'm sure you definitely don't want to miss great content, which is coming your way. So in today's exclusive interview, I chat with an amazing person. She's a Motswana, and as you know, Botswana exports only the best. So she's definitely the best. Now, she is a doctor, but she's not your usual doctor. No. She's get that right. She is not your usual doctor. She is the most fashionable doctor I know, like on earth, literally. She is very fashionable. She is amazing, and she's also beautiful. Like I said, we export only the best. So she's stunning, she's beautiful, she's amazing, and she's very smart. So do stick around, get to find out more about her.
Thank you.
All right, let's begin.
All right. I have not looked at the questions, by the way, so I'm going to completely wing this.
Good luck, but it's nothing tough.
It's been a tough week for me.
Oh yeah, very busy.
Birthday, very busy.
Yeah.
I'm being sarcastic.
All right. Dr. Josie, thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. And before we start, let me just wish you a happy belated birthday, because I know you're celebrating your birthday just a few days.
No problem. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Now, my first question, this is not a question, but it's a request. Now, can you please tell us who you are?
Okay.
Who are you?
All right, so my name is, do you want me to mix this with a bit of Swana in there? Gonna people need to know that I can actually speak very fluent Swana.
Exactly, go ahead.
All right, so Nakibidua Bocha Josephine Jeremiah. I was born in Maung, but actually grew up in Molepolole because my parents were both lecturers at Molepolole College of Education, so that's where I grew up. I did my schooling there. That's where I did my Form 5, and then I went to UB. So, what else do I need to say about myself? So, yeah, I've got two younger brothers, baby brothers, 31 and 18. So that kind of reveals how old I am, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, my second question is, how you live in Australia, right? So how did you end up in Australia?
Okay, so like I said, I went to UB. I did BSc, Bachelor of Science. And then I was lucky enough to get a scholarship from the Botswana government to come and study medicine in Australia. So that's how I ended up here.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So how's life? How's life in Australia? How is it? How are you enjoying Australia?
I mean, I'm going to be cliche and say life in Australia is amazing. I can't. I mean, obviously, the last almost 2 years now, we've been in and out of lockdown. Australia has been very strict, probably stricter than any other country as far as lockdown goes. So we've actually been in lockdown for most of the last 2 years, which is kind of why, last year and this year I've had ISO birthday celebrations. Everybody knows that I hype up my birthday from like left, right, and center. Big parties, that's me every year. But I couldn't do that last year and I couldn't do that this year. But I still celebrated, but obviously I couldn't have a big crowd. But other than that, I think we've been very lucky in that our COVID numbers haven't been as high as in any other country, mostly because we're an island. Australia is an island. So we're kind of protected from a lot of, travelers coming from all over the world. When you look at how high the COVID numbers were in the US and in the UK and in Europe. A lot of people travel there, and not as many people travel to Australia because we're isolated from the rest of the world. So that's kind of been a good thing from that point of view. So yeah, it's a great country to live in. It's absolutely amazing. The weather is very similar to the weather in Botswana. Except I've lived in Melbourne for the last 15 years, which the weather in Melbourne is like London weather. It's horrible. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
know London weather.
I'm a summer baby all the way. So Sarami and me just don't mix. So Melbourne has been a little bit too cold, but I've just moved to Sydney now. So Sydney is much warmer. So I'm happy now. So yeah, it's a beautiful country. I encourage anybody who wants to move here, do it.
It's a perfect place.
It is all around. I can't say anything wrong about it. I'd be lying. It's really
Now, that's amazing.
yeah.
Now, as a Motswana who lives abroad, what do you do to celebrate Botswana?
Okay, so I would say when I was a student, we used to have these get-togethers to celebrate that we boo. So like, there's actually a lot of Botswana in Australia, which is kind of nice. We've got our own community. So what we would do is we would get together every year, like our independence in a different city. Like one year we'd be in Melbourne, the following year we'd be in Adelaide, the next year we'll be in Brisbane or Sydney or Newcastle. So kind of like all over Australia, we'd celebrate our independence together. Go le monate, go nowa, go jewa, rapa bo diphaleshe, bo dishakalaka, just to kind of feel like we're at home. Go biwa Setswana. So that's kind of what we've been doing every year. But again, like I said, because of COVID, we haven't been able to do that in the last couple of years. But otherwise, that's like the one time of the year where we really get together and celebrate Botswana as Botswana living in Australia. So that's a really big deal for us.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you have your own community out there.
It's quite nice, actually. It makes you feel like you kind of got a little home away from home.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And you don't miss home as much, I
That's
think.
right. That's right. It makes you less homesick when you get together with people who speak the same language, who eat the same food. So it makes a huge difference. It's the small things like that that really make a big difference when you're away from home, especially now that we can't travel home.
That's absolutely.
Yeah.
Moving on to my next question. You are a medical doctor. So was that always the dream, or did it just happen? Like,
I love answering this question because the answer is no. And
what?
here's the explanation. I'm in the process of setting up guidance and counseling lessons for my Form 5 for Botswana, because here's the thing. How much guidance and career guidance and counseling do we get in public schools? Because I went through the public schooling system, and I can recall maybe one or two lessons as a guidance and counseling when I was in high school, but none of them were about what do you actually want to do? Where do you see yourself? What career path do you want to take? We never had that. I don't know about now. I'm talking 20 years ago when I was in high school. So I got out of high school having done well in pretty much every subject. So I've always been hardworking. So I got straight A's, and I managed to get into BSc. I remember some of my English teacher wanted me to do law because I used to kick ass in debates, and then my science teacher wanted me to be an engineer, and then my math teacher wanted me to be, it was like everybody wanted me to go a different direction. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to UB. I'm going to do BSc because I'm 18 years old. I don't know what I want to do. So this is going to buy me time to kind of think about what I really want to do. Because when you come to, first world countries, a lot of the kids finish high school and actually have a gap year to travel. They travel the world because that kind of buys them time to grow up. Because when you finish high school, you're young, you're still living in mom and dad's house. you don't know what you want to do with your life. You don't know anything about being an adult. So being thrown into tertiary school and being expected to decide what you want to do, in 5 seconds is unrealistic. So I found myself in a situation where I was lucky enough to get into BSc because I had done so well. And then by default, because I was in the top 20 performing cohort in UB, I got offered the scholarship to do medicine in Australia. And during my year, Monash University actually sent a panel of interviewers to UB to interview all the top 20 students, and they picked 10 people out of those to go to Monash in Melbourne. So that's how I got offered the scholarship. Medicine for me was like blood and gore. I thought it was the most disgusting thing ever. I was like, why would anybody want to do that? From what I saw on ER, I was like, I do not want to do that. It's disgusting. No. But here I am, 20 years later.
I didn't expect this answer,
I think a lot of people
I
do
am shocked.
because they want to do that, but for me that wasn't my story. I kind of it just happened, and what 18-year-old was going to turn down the opportunity to go to Australia? So
No one, so true. Now, what is your specialty?
So at the moment, here's the thing. I got out of med
Yeah.
school, and I wanted to be a surgeon. So I actually did neurosurgery for 6 years. And then 3 years ago, I decided to take a break from neurosurgery, mostly for personal reasons, because I wanted to kind of go down the path of, settling down, having a family, exploring other possibilities outside of medicine, because I have a lot of other interests outside of medicine, fashion being one of them.
Yeah.
So doing
Yeah.
neuro training did not allow me to do anything else outside of that. So that's kind of why I decided to kind of veer away from it. So for the past 3 years, I've been doing emergency medicine. So that's where I'm at the moment. So I'm an emergency registrar. So I work in the ER essentially.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
I'm a frontline worker. It doesn't get as more frontline as that.
That's scary though.
It does have its scary
You
moments.
save lives
I do, literally.
every day.
I love it.
Now, Dr. Joe, yeah. Now, Dr. Josie, you are a fashion gal. You love fashion.
I
You're all
love
about fashion. Now, fashion and medicine, that's quite a combination.
like water
So
and
how, oil and water, how do you balance that?
I've sort of had to develop the ability to separate my personal life from my work life. So when I go to work, I'm in complete work mode. I'm in scrubs, I've got my hair tied back while I have a hat on, and I'm Dr. Jeremiah full time, and then as soon as I step out of the hospital, I'm Galabocha. I wear my glam outfits, I've got my weaves on, my nails done. I'm a completely different person. So I've had to, and that's one thing that people always ask me on my Instagram is, how can you be a doctor and be so fashionable and so glam? And I sort of say to them, but medicine is my job. I've got a life outside of my job, just like you've got a life outside of your job. I still wear my pink scrubs to work. Some people consider that fashionable. So I kind of still do embrace my fashionista side at work, but I'm not going to be rocking stiletto nails while I'm trying to do CPR on someone. So it's just a balancing act that I've developed over the years, and it works for me. While I'm here, I've got a whole week off work. I've got my hair done. I'm all dressed up. I'm drinking champagne. I'm not thinking about the ER. and I will not think about the ER until I step inside. And then I'm a completely different person when I do that. So I've had to learn how to do that.
But that's amazing. I think that's I wasn't expecting that answer. So that's the perfect answer, separating your life, your personal life and the work.
It's very important because my work is like it's a matter of life and death. So I've got to really take it seriously.
Definitely.
Wow.
Now, I mean, have you always been into fashion, or was your love for fashion sparked by living in Australia?
I've always been into fashion. You know, my mom can attest to that. So, as young as I was 5 years old, I was drawing sketches and putting outfits together. You know, on my school holidays, I would do my homework, and then I had like a sketchbook because I actually did art in high school. That's something that people don't know about me. I studied art and
Wow.
I studied fashion and fabrics in high school. So I had a sketchbook where I would sketch, like I would design outfits. And at the time, obviously, I had no money. You know, I had to ask mama, gore mama, kopa re o nthekele mosuwe ke o bone kwa Edgar's, kana ko Foschini. And then I would say, okay, so if my mom buys me this dress, I'm gonna wear it with these shoes, and then I need a hat to go with it. So I've always been doing this since I was a little girl. But now, luckily, I can afford to kind of wear the kind of outfits that I want. But back then, it was just a passion, and it's just followed me to this day. I used to dress
So
up,
today you like it. Today you like it. You buy it.
of course.
Now you started your own fashion boutique, Josie Couture.
I did.
What led you? What led you now into venturing into the fashion business?
So this is how it started. I have so many clothes, it's ridiculous. And it
Yeah.
kind of I started collecting clothes, if you may put it, when I got to UB. You know, I get someone like it's allowance I go UB. That's when I started to kind of afford to buy the kind of clothes that I wanted to buy. So I've accumulated so many clothes over the last 20 years. And when we got into the era of social media, everybody knows that you cannot be seen in the same outfit twice. That's like a fashion sin, you know? So I had all of these clothes in my closet, and I was like, what am I going to do? I mean, I started giving some of them away. But, you know, when you've got a $500 dress, you're like, do I really want to give that away? Or so I kind of started selling some of my old clothes. And ha ke ya ko Botswana, I would have like dilwana di tletse mo Zimbabweeng, ke di tsentse mo garageng ke rekisa. I would call my friends, get look guys, I'm having a pop-up sale. Can you please come and have a look and see if there's anything that you want? So that's kind of how the idea started. And then I was like, you know what? I could turn this into a business because I had some people who I would now consider my personal clients. They would call me and say, oh, next time, how listen, next time. And then I was like, I've got like a client base now. You know, how do I exploit this? So that's kind of how the business idea came about. And I think at the back of my mind, I always knew that, you know, I wanted to use my passion for fashion to generate income. And that's kind of how I thought, you know, why now? I've got a bit of time on my hands now, so I decided to do it.
Amazing. So now you launched it here in Botswana, right? So how was the response and the support back home?
It was amazing. It was absolutely phenomenal. You know, I was so taken aback by how positively people responded to it. And I think it was because people have always loved and admired my fashion on Facebook and Instagram. So when I finally said, okay, guys, this is what I'm doing, everybody was super excited for me. You know, people came out to the launch. You know, I got radio interviews. I got my first cover of The Voice because of that. So I was so happy that I had gotten that kind of response from Botswana, you know, because that's kind of where my love for fashion started. That's kind of where my dreams were born. And what better place to share that moment with batho ba kwa lapeng, ditsala tsa me, my family, you know, I was so happy. It's been so amazing. And I can't wait to grow it. I'm doing a lot of things behind the scenes right now because obviously I've had to kind of take a step back because of COVID. But there's a lot of things that I'm doing behind the scenes, and I cannot wait to reveal them in due time.
We can't wait. We are ready. We are re di paging tsa gago, Instagram, Facebook. We're just watching the space.
Love it.
Now, why do you think it's important for people to invest in their looks? I mean, you are the fashion queen. Why do you think it's important for now people to invest in their looks?
Okay, so women, we really thrive off of our confidence in ourselves. And I say this because this is something that I'm very passionate about. Growing up, I was very overweight and I was very shy. This is something that people don't know about me. Nekile shy. And then this is what I did. Luckily, I kind of took control of that. And I thought, what is the one thing that would make me happy right now? When people are teasing you as a young 15-year-old girl, about hey, umukima, uliguinya, people get called those names and they don't actually realize how much it breaks down their confidence. So I was one of those girls who unfortunately experienced that, but luckily I would consider myself a very strong person because I used that as motivation to help myself. And I lost weight by starting to work out when I was quite young. And lucky for me, my mom kind of invested in that and videos exercise so that I could exercise at home. And then as soon as I lost the weight, by the time I went to UB, I think I lost about 20 kilos, like about from 5. So by the time I went to UB, I was this confident, came out of my shell. I could wear clothes that I was never able to wear before, never thought I would wear. But you have top, or. I used to admire Bayana Baba Slender, Berry. And then suddenly I could dress the way I wanted to dress and feel confident. So I'm very passionate about encouraging young women to not only invest in how they look. I don't want to promote body negativity, but I want to promote healthy habits from a young age. If you start to adopt healthy habits like, Oscar Jama Guinyama Lazioche, look after your skin, wear sunscreen. Believe it or not, I started wearing sunscreen when I moved to Australia, and that has done wonders for my skin. Nwamis, you don't even need to spend thousands of dollars in investing in a healthy diet. Just go walk around the block every morning or go for a jog. Drink 3 liters of water per day. Oscar jama gunyama la siotlhe. Wear sunscreen. Kana o tshware sekhukhu ha o le mo letsatsing like we used to do the old school way. These are the sort of things that I try to instill in young girls because these are the things that we were never taught growing up, and we kind of had to learn the hard way of, hey, if you don't protect your skin from the sun, by the time you're 40, you'll be looking like you're 60 years old, mainly because you're sunburned. And Botswana is very hot. Australia is very hot. So just small things like that. And that's kind of why, for me, it's very important to invest in the way you look because it does wonders for your confidence, for your mental health, and it's amazing. I've been there, done that, and that's why I speak about it so boldly because I've been there. I've been that shy, overweight teenage girl who then emerged out of her shell just by basically taking control of her life and saying, I'm the only person who can change this, so I'm going to do it and silence the haters. And that's kind of, it applies to every aspect of your life, whether it's your body weight, whether it's your career, your studying. If it's something that's within your control, take control of it and silence the haters. If you sit at home and mope about it and not do anything to change it, it's not going to change. So,
Well, well said. Well said. You said it all. Now, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
oh, okay. Hopefully with a white picket fence around me, married with 2 or 3 kids.
3. O batla go bula crash. 3.
I actually wanted 4, so 3 is like less than what I originally wanted. No, actually,
Amazing.
on a serious note, I want to grow my business. I've got big plans for my business. Obviously, as much as I want to have kids and get married and have the white picket fence, I still want to stay on this path of, taking my career to greater heights. I want to build an empire. That's basically what I'm trying to do here. And I want to build multiple sources of income. So that's kind of what the next 5 years is going to be about. I'm in the establishment phase of my life. So I'm hoping that in 5 years I can look down and say, hey, I started there. That's what I was trying to do 5 years ago, and now I'm there. So that's my grand plan.
You are such an inspiration.
Thank you. I try.
You try. Now, what do you do for fun? What is your idea of a great time?
Okay. I love to travel. Traveling for me is like everything. So even if it means driving down the coast, 5 hours away from Sydney, which is what I've done for my birthday, I love to travel. I love to spend time with my loved ones. That's why for the past 15 years, I've been traveling home almost every year for Christmas, going for road trips with my family for Christmas. I thoroughly cherish moments like that, and I can't wait to be able to do that again. I love to go out, but I think COVID has kind of made me a hermit. The idea of getting dressed up and going out now seems like such hard work. But yeah, I do enjoy going out and catching up with my friends over a glass of wine or champagne once in a while because I don't get to do that a lot. I actually work 90% of the time right now. But that's mainly because we've been mostly in lockdown. So I kind of exploited the opportunity to work a lot more because I couldn't do anything else. But when I do get the chance, those are some of the things that I love to do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, what advice would you give to a Motswana here in Botswana who's not sure if he or she should pursue what they want, what they love?
Okay. So I would like to kind of say, think about the things that make you happy. Everyone has a passion. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to find that
Figure it
passion.
out.
Yes. So it's okay to kind of go down one path as long as you're doing something. The most important thing that I would like to emphasize is to write down your plans and your thoughts. I'm a big believer in writing things down because when you write things down, it keeps you accountable and it helps you kind of keep track of where you're at in your life. And this is something that I haven't always done. I actually started doing this on my 30th birthday. And that's because when I turned 30, ne ke sena ntlo, ne ke sena madi, I was 5 years out of med school, and I was kind of like, I'm a 30-year-old woman. Where is my life going? What have I achieved? And this was actually sparked by, I went on a trip to the US. I did a tour of Atlanta, and I kind of learned about the history of Atlanta, mainly Martin Luther King. Most people don't know this, but Martin Luther King was only 36 when he died. And I kind of had an epiphany at that moment. I was like, oh my God, this man has left such a legacy, and he was only 36 years old. I'm 30. If I died right now, what legacy am I leaving behind? So I started writing down my 10-year plan on my 30th birthday. And I said, in 10 years, this is what I want to achieve. So this year, I need to do A, B, C, and D. Next year, I need to do A, B, C, and D. Next year, I do it. So the way I did that kind of kept me on track. So ha e le gore ke plana go dira di-masters this year and e be ke di hetsa next year. Ha ke hetsa di-masters, what am I doing next? So that's kind of what I've been doing since I turned 30. So I encourage young people to I tell this to all of my friends or anyone who comes across me, write down your plans and your thoughts. If this is if this is what you want to achieve in the next 10 years, write it down and create a timeline. And your timeline depends on what resources you have. If you are as lucky as me and you live in a country where the masters is no big deal, all you do is look online, or choose a university where you're batlang, or apply and get in, then do it. But hello, Botswana, and let's say maybe with Form 5, you've done well enough to get into UB, then choose a course it will get you closer to the plans that you have. If halfway through that course you decide, hey, course I think you change your mind. I'm actually interested in that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with changing your plans. I change my plans day in and day out. There's nothing wrong with that. No one should make you feel guilty about doing that, because at the end of the day, it's your future and it's your roads. So when I determine where you're gonna end up 10, 20, 30 years from now. And if it means taking a detour from your original plan, then do it. But please be true to your passions. Don't do something because ngwana sa mamang o irile kose, so le nna ke a go e dira. If it's not what you want to do, don't do it. My brothers are very clear about the fact that medicine is not for them. And I have never at any moment medicine, like, just don't. Stick true to who you are. If it means that you've got to do something now to kind of get you closer to where you want to get, how's that a shortcut? Even if you do small courses to get there, just do what you've got to do based on what's around you and based on your location geographically. I cannot.
Amazing. Well said. Now, in closing, is there anything that you'd love to say?
Oh God. It's easier when I have to answer questions.
Than when you have to actually find something to say.
I know. Okay. So young people, this is kind of in continuation to what I was saying before and staying true to yourself. At the moment, we're living in a world where social media kind of influences everything that we do. All good and true. It's fine if you're using someone that you follow on social media to motivate you to kind of get to where you want to get. If you use that person as a role model. But I kind of want to encourage a lot of young people to not get caught up in thinking that what they see on social media is what's actually happening in that person's life, because they kind of we show people what we want them to see. I'm not going to show you a photo of myself in my scrubs, all sweaty and looking like a homeless person grinding. But the truth is, that's kind of who I am 90% of the time. And then what you see on social media is who I am 5 or 10% of the time. So people who live the kind of life that you want to live on social media are actually working hard to sustain that life. Well, most of them are anyway. Some people, yes, were born into money and they kind of wake up and but the majority of us actually have to work hard for what you see on social media. So I really want to encourage young people to not get into the mindset of thinking from the sky onto that lab. That's not how it works, because I do get a lot of people contacting me on my Instagram or Facebook. Barry, or can you please help me come to Australia? Can you please give me money? I want to buy these Air Force sneakers. Like, that's not how life works, guys. I'm sorry, but we've all worked hard to get to where we are. And I will only help people who want to help themselves. But ha e le gore o ntse kwa lapeng and you're kind of just expecting gore legodimo le bulege, ebe dikhumo tsotlhe di wela onto your lap, that's not the mentality that you should adopt. So you've got to work hard. And even if it means building your wealth from scratch, then that's what you've got to do, because you can get there. It's fine to ask for help, but just don't get into the mentality of thinking what things are just going to happen when you're sitting at home doing nothing. You know, life is not easy. You've got to work hard to get the life that you want. So that's something that I think our younger generation needs to understand. But life is not easy. So things don't just happen. You've actually got to knock on a lot of doors and put in the work to get to where you want to get to.
Absolutely. Well said. Well
Yeah.
said. Dr. Ke lebogile thata. Thank you so much, Dr. Josie, for agreeing to do this interview. It has been amazing.
No problem at all. My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yep. I had fun. I really had fun.
Me
Thank
too.
you. We've come to the end of our video. I definitely know that you enjoyed it. So please definitely click on that thumbs up button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Do you know Dr. Josie? Do you love her? Do you follow her? Was this video helpful? Do let me know. And please don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I post new content, because we definitely have new content coming. It's amazing. It's packed. Before I forget, I have left for you guys links to Dr. Josie's accounts. So follow those links in the description. Follow them and make sure you follow her. Be updated. Let's continue supporting our own. Let's continue celebrating our own. Let's continue supporting the movement. A whole vibe. Peace.
On my own tough days, I fight for my niggas. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Ain't no nigga gon' switch faces. That's why to reach places.